Good afternoon, everyone. I request everyone to please settle down, and those who are at the end, if you could occupy the front chairs and settle down, we can start the session. Yeah, once again, good afternoon. I'm Manisha. A very warm welcome to all of you to today's roundtable session on raising and accelerating MSMEs performance. We are truly delighted to have you, all of you, join here for this session today. We hope you had a comfortable lunch, and were able to connect with your fellow participants during the networking session. This afternoon is designed to bring together MSMEs, industry leaders, government officials, and solution providers, all with one shared goal to support our MSMEs in becoming more resource efficient, sustainable, and future ready. Through today's discussions, we aim to identify key challenges faced by MSMEs, especially in the food processing sector, and work together to shape practical and impactful solutions that can be taken forward through collaboration and implementation support. Thank you once again for being here. We look forward to your active participation and valuable insights throughout all the sessions. Now, as we move forward, I would like to invite Ms. Rashmi Pimpale Garu, CEO at Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, to give us opening remarks for the session.
A very good afternoon to all of you and a very warm welcome to this important stakeholder consultation on RAMP being conducted by RICH, Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this roundtable discussion. RICH, as many of you would by now know, is a Government of Telangana initiative. We were launched back in 2017 by the Industries and Commerce Department of the Government of Telangana with the primary goal of acting as a facilitator between different stakeholders who are in the research and innovation space to bring them all together on a common platform, help them network, help them collaborate more. And in the process, we work with a large number of research and academic institutions, industry, startups, and of course, government bodies. The core of our mandate is to act as an enabler. Having gatherings like this, it is important to note that each of the stakeholder who is sitting here has his or her own priorities, own timelines, own set of workings that they go ahead during their journey. But to bring them all together, to have a common shared goal, to solve some really complex problems and to move forward is something that an entity like RICH does. We operate in 3 sectors: life sciences, food and agriculture, and sustainability. And in sustainability in particular, which is the topic for today's discussion as well, our main and the strong focus is on energy. We are leading some national level programs and initiatives on energy transition. We are also working on things like demand side energy management, green hydrogen, EV skilling, and such other important initiatives in the sustainability sector. As you are all aware, the government recently launched 2 important policies: MSME policy and the clean energy policy. MSME policy, as many of you must have gone through, it provides a very strong focus on access to market, access to raw materials, access to finance, and very importantly, encouraging adoption of newer technologies. The whole idea is that the government is looking at MSMEs through sustainability lens, and that is also tied to the other policy that the government launched, which is the clean energy policy. It also has a very strong focus on energy storage, again, green hydrogen, waste to energy, and so on. So the government realizes that MSMEs and industries are the backbone of our economy and their contributions are huge. But at the same time, they face many challenges. And that is why these policies are an effort to facilitate some of the, or address some of the challenges that industries and MSMEs go through. And today's consultation on RAMP is one such effort from Rich to address, to understand the gaps, to understand the requirements, and see what we can do through this program. And we strongly believe at Rich that this is a great step forward, because as we move along in future, cleaner and greener energy is going to be of utmost importance. If not now at this stage, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, it is going to be the way forward. As many of you would already know that if you are into exports, or if you are looking at exports, there are certain requirements that you need to follow if you have to send your goods to that country. And again, a lot of greening prerequisites are being formulated by the Western countries, so that all of this, when we start now, will become important and will have to be adopted going forward. And we think programs like RAMP are an important step in this direction. My colleagues will, through the subsequent talks, let you know more about what exactly the RAMP program is, what are some of the components that are going to be beneficial to the MSMEs, who are the implementing agencies, what role all are they are all playing. All of these things will be clearer as we move along in the session today. What we believe is, for greener tomorrow, it is important that government facilitates a lot of things, but it is also important that the industry and MSMEs come forward and be open to accepting some of those emerging and newer technologies. So there has to be a convergence between the two sides to move forward. And I think this program will help you understand better about how you can go about it. So I encourage all of you to please share your insights, share the challenges, share the barriers that you face, and also share the requirements that you are looking at in your greening journey. So once again, thank you very much for joining us today. I have to travel to Delhi after this, so please pardon my absence for the next part of the session, but I'm very sure that throughout the session you will gain insights, and more importantly, you will give us more information and knowledge so that we can implement this scheme very efficiently. Thank you very much.
Ms. Rashmi Pimpale Garu for setting the tone for today's discussion. Our next session highlights the support mechanisms available under the RAM program, especially for resource efficiency and technology assistance in the MSME sector. I welcome Rajkumar Ohatker Garu, Additional Director, Industries Department. Join all of us here to welcome him. Welcome to today's session, sir. Sir, I request you to please come to the stage and address the audience for a keynote speech.
Very good afternoon. I was held up in the meeting in Commissionerate of Industries. Sorry, I have been a little bit late. I am Rajkumar Ohatker, Additional Director, Industries Department, Government of Telangana. First of all, congrats to Rashmi Pimpale Garu for organizing this event. As you all know, RICH is also one of the implementing agency for this RAM program. And we have about 10 components under this RAM program scheme. And a series of awareness programs are going on in all the sectors. And as this is a 4-year program, we are going ahead as per the calendar year setup for this. As you know, we have incentives policy in Government of Telangana. Earlier it was T-IDEA and T-Pride. These benefits, financial benefits, are being extended to all the new MSME units being set up in the state. You get capital investment subsidy as well as power reimbursement and interest subventions, apart from sales tax and all that. And parallelly, there is a scheme called TFAP, that is food processing and preservation of food products. This is also a state government policy announced in 2021, and we have a better incentives package for encouraging food industries under this. Regularly, we provide about 1 rupee per unit reimbursement, but for food processing units, we provide about 2 rupees per unit, just to encourage this sector, as it is a perishable product. We want to encourage them in a big way. And parallelly, there is a central government scheme also under food processing. You must be aware of this. We provide about infrastructure facilities for setting up industries. We have TGIIC, that is the corporation which provides industrial plots for coming up industries. This corporation has got about 140,000 acres of land bank to be provided to the entrepreneurs. And once you get the plot allotment in industrial estates, the advantage is that all the industrial clearances you get at single point. That is, every industrial park has got a ILA commissioner headed by the government officials, that is corporation or industries department officials are also working there on deputation. So we ensure that under TGIPAS, that is a flagship program of Commissionerate of Industries, we ensure that all the industrial clearances are given within 30 days of timelines set up for all the line departments. And as you know, under UODB norms, Telangana is one of the best state. It has been designated as the achievers under UODB programs, as we have set timelines for all the line departments to ensure clearances are given in time. In Commissionerate of Industries, every week our officials take up a review meeting with all the line departments, and if anything is held up there, we give directions to expedite the clearances. And this is very effective and proactive program, as all the officials are very proactive, and we are supposed to give the clearances in time to ensure that industries come up in a fast track way. Last year, this MSME scheme has been announced by the government, that is 2024. It was inaugurated by Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana, and operational guidelines are being framed. Shortly we'll be receiving the operational guidelines, and this MSME 2024 has got enhanced facilities as compared to the previous TID and T-Pride scheme. So you can also avail this scheme package being given to the industries. Particularly this food industries, there is a separate society has been formed, and Akhil Gowar, I think, he is dealing this subject, and they have formed several special economic zones for food processing. As under this PAP policy, better incentives are being given. You can go through that. GOs are available. It is issued in 2021, and it is a 5-year scheme being implemented. Under RAMP program, we are supposed to encourage this MSME sector. As you know, it creates a lot number of employment, as well as you get revenue to the exchequer in the form of sales tax and all the other which are being collected for the government setup. Under MSME, if any entrepreneur wants to set up this unit, they can file with us, and we give them hand-holding services, extending all the allotment of land. There are basically 6 segments for encouraging MSMEs. One is it should have access to the markets. land availability, and finance. And we are tying up with the various banks, as well as we have signed last year, I think in 2023, MOU with the NSE, National Stock Exchange. And if they are facing any finance problems with the banking sector, they can as well go for floating IPOs. And we are giving awareness under this segment also. Quite number of awareness programs have happened in this sector also. So they can avail all these facilities. And our government is very proactive, and all officials are always there to extend helping hands in getting all your clearances or anything held up in any other government setups for clearances. So you can always approach Commissionerate of Industries, that is the located at Abbott's office. And I thank all the REACH organization as well as all the participants for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Ohatker garu, Additional Director, Industries Department, Government of Telangana. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. As we move forward, the next session is Greening MSMEs Initiative under RAM. It will highlight the support mechanisms available under the RAM program, especially for resource efficiency and technology assistance in the MSME sector. I would like to invite Mr. Srinivas Charla Garu, Director, Sustainability at Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. So, please.
Very warm welcome and good afternoon to all the participants here. It's heartening to see good participation from various food cluster processing units, Elip, Bandla-Timmapur, and several other areas that we have reached out to. Good to see the participation. I hope I'm audible till the end over there. Right? Yeah, okay. While Rajkumar sir, Additional Director Garu, has thrown light on overall about RAMP initiative, what I'll try to do is briefly touch upon what are the different aspects of RAMP program, and then we'll also highlight exactly about what initiative that Rich is taking up, right? Okay. A RAMP stands simply for Raising and Accelerating MSME Performance. This is a World Bank funded initiative which has been allotted to the Indian government, MSME Ministry, and they have further passed on the responsibilities to different state departments, in this case the Industries Department, to implement various programs under the scheme. Eventually, as the name suggests, the intent is to help MSMEs in truly becoming world-class and moving towards being more sustainable. Under the RAMP program, we have several initiatives. A total of 10 have been picked up by the Telangana Industries Department here and have been being led through different agencies under the Telangana and under the oversight of the Telangana Industries Department. So the Industries Department itself is overseeing the consolidation of all the MSME databases that they have. As it is well known, there's a lot of scatter, there's a lot of superfluous information, and now they're trying to make it more meaningful and come to those active MSME units which they can support in a more proactive manner. NIMSME is working on setting up enterprise development cells at all the DICs. IIT Hyderabad is working on promoting innovation, startup and encouraging startup and MSME interaction through their code centers, Center for Design Excellence and Brand Promotion. Right? So they have some infrastructure being set up at IIT Hyderabad specifically to help MSMEs and startups in this exercise. TGTPC is working on import champions and export substitution program, um, which was there in an earlier avatar, but is now on steroids with support from RAMP. TIHCL is working on relieving and reviving distressed MSMEs through the Telangana Industrial Health Clinic initiative. Rich on its side, and this is the program that we at Research and Innovation Circle are heading, has two subcomponents, but eventually the main objective is greening of MSMEs, right? So all that we do today is we're going to highlight what what we intend to do as a part of this program, and what kind of maybe collaboration and joint working that we need with MSMEs to make the program more impactful and meaningful for the attendees over here, which are MSMEs. ALEAP is leading support for self-help group. We have a few MSMEs from ALEAP as well over here. And kind of bringing them into the formal MSME fold. So rather than being small cottage industries, turning them into MSMEs. And WeHub is working on women-specific, encouraging women-specific MSMEs. And CITD CPET are working on benchmarking studies for assessing sectoral gaps, primarily in the plastics and electronics MSME area. And what I can tell is that there are multiple such programs running right now under the Industries Department, oversight, which intend to overall catalyze the MSME ecosystem in the state of Telangana. Okay. A quick overview, Rashmi had already introduced what RICH is, what we do. I just wanted to touch upon what RICH does specifically in sustainability area. And broadly, we do four things. We are working on decarbonization. We have projects running in this RAMP program initiative. We are also working very actively on setting up a green hydrogen valley in the state of Telangana in the Ramagundam region. It's going to take shape hopefully in the next 6 months to a year. There's work that we're doing on demand side energy management, what we call automated demand response. This is part of a larger program funded by the Norwegian Research Council and also under MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So it is an Indo-Norwegian task force of energy project wherein we are trying to demonstrate automated demand response with 300 consumers in the Delhi region with Reliance Power, Noida Power, utility companies. Okay. We're also working on promoting circular economy. We have helped set up a center of excellence on e-waste management at CMET, Center for Materials for Electronic Technology in Cherlapalli. Finally, we are very actively looking at how the Telangana state should be prepared for the upcoming carbon markets, which will be launched in 2026. We have provided inputs to this effect to State Action Plan on Climate Change, SAPCC, and other policy inputs as well in terms of green hydrogen, clean and green energy policy. So RICH has been fundamentally taking inputs from the industry and passing on to policymakers to include them into the government policies. So before we start off, I thought we'll set a little bit of context on the key role MSMEs have in promotion of the economies for the state. And this data I have pulled out from various government resources. It's about, they contribute about 46% in terms of employment generation for the state, 10 to 12% of the state GDP, And if you look at the contribution composition, we can see that majority of them are micro industries. Um, Now there are a few small industries and very few medium industries. Right? Overall, in the 8 lakh, you can see 95 to 98% are micro industries, and the remainder, few percentage, 3 or 4%, would be small and medium industries. But in terms of revenue generation, it's a different story. It's the other way around. MS medium industries contribute to a majority of the state GDP revenue generation, and micro and small enterprises have the smaller share in terms of revenue generation. But overall, it is undeniable that they play a very significant role in the growth story of the state. What I've also tried to do is pick up energy or electricity as a proxy for resource consumption for MSMEs. So we're trying to understand what kind of resource consumption goes into MSMEs. Um, if you look at the total annual energy consumption in the state, it's about 70,000 gigawatt hours. So that's annual consumption of electricity, of which industry sector itself takes about 40%, 35 to 40%, which amounts to about 28,000 gigawatt hour. And MSMEs further take up about 25% of that. Right? So the remaining 75% is large industries, very large industries, listed industries, and MSMEs take up only about 25% of the energy. So it still comes to about 10% of the electricity consumption in the state, 70,000 gigawatt hour to 7,000 gigawatt hour. 10% of the electricity is being consumed. So we can, if I just very roughly and casually draw a parallel, I can say, okay, 10% of resources are being taken by MSMEs, right? And they're giving 10% in terms of state GDP. So it's a even game. Uh, but when we look at the story of renewable energy, we are seeing that it's very less, in terms of less than 1% of the total energy being consumed by MSMEs is renewable energy. So there is a huge opportunity in terms of renewable energy integration and clean technology adoption, which the MSMEs can play a very significant role in. And that brings up to what are the drivers? Why should MSMEs even care about going green, being more environmentally friendly? What's in it for them? Uh, Three key things. One is economy, right? So there is an economic incentive. Um, Green is more or less now also economically viable, right? The other day I was at CII Greenco event, and there were multiple MSMEs which came forward and expressed their growth story, how they have benefited by taking on, moving from bronze certification all the way to platinum certification, Greenco certification, which is done by CII, right? And what they have said is that while they had been promised a ROI of 4 years, they achieved their investment multifold in 2 years itself, right? So there is definitely, if done right, there's definitely economic sense as well in going green and being sustainable. Um, Also, there are other incentives in terms of lower cost of power. Renewable energy is now cheaper than even grid power. And there are several incentives and grants from the government which help MSMEs in their green energy transformation, right? So there are multiple schemes which provide free uh, energy audits, which provide help in terms of setting up ZLD, ZED schemes, and several other schemes, which we'll cover later on in the program. Apart from that, market-based initiatives as well. That is, there is a market demand for green products, and if you're looking at export markets, all the more important that you definitely have some form of green certification for the products to be marketed abroad. Otherwise, there are kind of regulations like CBAM and other things which prevent export to several countries. Other things are around access to innovative technologies, and there's also a societal pressure that you have to be the brand has to be a clean brand, a green brand, and then it can kind of command a market premium over the other brands. So there's also a societal pressure which drives MSMEs into greening. Uh, so the takeaway there is that green transition also makes business sense. And finally, when we look at some of the MSMEs which have already indicated what they have done, we can see various things like deploying variable frequency drives, shifting to energy efficient equipment, adoption of renewable energy storage systems, taking on preventive maintenance, setting up common facilities. I've seen significant interest from multiple clusters here in this particular activity among common facilities, right? Recycling, effluent management, better practices around that, and various things like being able to monitor real-time energy consumption, real-time resource consumption, and optimizing it through digitization and energy management systems. So these are the areas where RAMP program can probably be leveraged better by MSMEs. Some of them may be aware and have already adopted these initiatives and these measures, but we think that we can provide a lot more technical hand-holding to MSMEs so that they can take their journey and better implement some of these measures. Okay. Yeah. So how exactly are we planning to do and support MSMEs? So next slide. Yeah, thank you. It's going to be a stepwise process. We have been able to broadly classify it to 6 steps. The first step being mapping of the energy intensive MSME clusters. So we have done a very elaborate study, tried to identify what MSME industries and their resource consumption is, have identified 15 MSME sectors where they have a huge energy intensity and resource intensity. And now these would be our target segments for implementing the RAMP program. Further, now that we have identified these sectors, the next step is to create awareness, onboard MSMEs, and then ensure that we are able to shortlist serious MSMEs to take forward to the next level, which is assessing their energy intensity, carbon footprint assessments, being able to provide all kinds of technical support. The end of the day, in this 2-year program, we need to onboard 2,000 MSMEs and help in grounding of clean initiatives with these 2,000 MSMEs. Okay. So it's not going to be just some peripheral activity, but we'll be working very deeply with the MSMEs in providing all kinds of technical support and delivering impact for 2,000 MSMEs. If there is a need for innovation in identified through these stakeholder consultations, roundtable events, then we intend to do hackathons through startups starting September timeframe, September 2025, wherein we're trying to collate a lot of problem statements from industry, and then we'll get into innovation challenges and engage startups to support MSMEs. Eventually, the execution will be done over the next 2 years. And further, once the program is implemented and projects are grounded, we'll be monitoring the progress of MSMEs and supporting them further in enhancing and improving from where they have, once the journey has started. Okay. So we request all the MSMEs to get on board in this journey and play an active role. In terms of what kind of support we can provide, again, we have tried to bucket it into several categories. Technical is probably where ramp scheme can play a very, very vital role. We will provide energy and carbon footprint assessments for 2,000 MSMEs. We will provide access to mentors and subject matter experts. Technology compendiums will be created for each and every sector. So food processing will have a separate mapping of technologies which are applicable only for the food processing sector. Pharma sector will get its own map. Plastic sector will get its own technology compendium. So that way we are able to, industries are easily able to find something like a playbook that they can pick up and start implementing, or at least make some, get more aware about what options are available for them. Once we onboard 2,000 MSMEs, of course, we'll be hand-holding them, supporting them throughout their journey, greening journey. We will empanel vendors, so it's easier for you to pick between several technologies and OEMs that are offering various technologies. So you'll have some curated packages that you can pick where bank loans are available, where we have already pre-negotiated some prices with the OEMs. And then we'll also help in terms of compliance to local regulations, leveraging other government schemes, network support through the other 10 programs that I had indicated earlier as a part of the RAMP program. So all this support will also be available for business to progress and grow. So if there's anything that I want the MSMEs to walk away from this program, it is the key takeaways. So one, yes, you'll get free energy and carbon footprint assessments. Two, you'll get cost benefit analysis. You'll get very detailed investment grade DPRs, which you can straight away take and walk in for loans or raising funding through your banker, or if there's a need, we could also help you in fundraising. Technologies will be verified and packaged for easy adoption by the MSMEs. So you don't have to be an expert in the technology and other things, but you can straight away trust the judgment of experts in this area. Schemes and loan facilitation will be provided by our mentors and advisors. And if there is a need for common infrastructure, common facility creation, we request MSMEs to come together jointly, and we can see how we can facilitate common infrastructure creation. There are several MSME schemes that are available with the MSME DFO or the MSME ministry, and they can help facilitate creation of common infrastructure. What I'm told is that Telangana has not leveraged this common infrastructure fund from MSME ministry till date. So it's probably an opportunity, a wake-up call. MSMEs do realize that you have some funds available from MSME ministry, and you can better leverage these grants. A free hand-holding support and grounding of projects, which I think is priceless. So you don't have to worry about anything else. You just leverage our support and take your one step forward. So if you're putting 10 steps forward, you can take one step forward. I think that's very, very, that's when things will start working. Sometimes the click works, sometimes the click doesn't. So sorry if it's skipping a couple of slides. Okay. As far as the program implementation timeline, we are somewhere in this first step here, wherein we are doing the feasibility assessments. Our team has handed over several expression of interest forms to MSMEs. Request the interested MSMEs to kindly fill them up and submit so that we can start tracking, we can start the engagement right here today. We'll get a broad understanding of where the MSMEs are, what their interests are, what interventions they have already taken up, and where we need to put our efforts. Right? So kindly help us by submitting the EOIs. Further, once we are able to shortlist the MSMEs, we'll be onboarding and enlisting them into the program. And then we'll kickstart the field activities, which is energy carbon footprint assessments, and helping them with the agreeing on interventions and then go into the implementation phase. This is when we'll get into financial grade DPR preparation, helping the MSMEs in fundraising, leveraging other MSME ministry schemes, and grounding of projects. Finally, will be also, once the projects are grounded, we'll also continue to monitor and evaluate and provide real-time support to MSMEs if they're struggling in any aspect. So what's the next step after this roundtable? So we are currently having this roundtable here now, wherein we are taking industry feedback and prioritizing some of the problem statements. The intent is to have at least 100 problem statements from across the 15 sectors. And then among these, once we prioritize, we'll probably only have 25 that we'll be able to pick and launch some kind of a hackathon or innovation challenge. And of these, at least 10 of them we want to take forward into live implementation. Right? So that's the step that I have shown. Starting August to October, we'll be doing innovation calls. We'll be having hackathons where we intend to engage startups and again, identify most promising innovations, and then we'll be inviting MSMEs to adopt some of those innovations. We're trying to see if some of those can also be funded through climate change funds or any other kind of philanthropic organizations, but no assurances at this point. Certainly what we intend to do is have MSMEs and have at least 10 innovations that the MSMEs can adopt. Okay. So all of you must have the expressions of interest form with you at your desk. There's some brief information about the organization, its ownership, its composition, some information about what resources you'll be consuming, right? What interventions you have taken in terms of water management, electricity management, waste management, and what you have planned in the upcoming year, or some things which are already ongoing and you're taking on some interventions. So some very, very basic information about your company, its product, its production, annual turnover and production, and what kind of equipment and conservation, energy conservation, resource conservation measures you have taken. Very, very high level. I don't think any MSME should have any difficulty in filling it up. If you do, then find one of our team members with the white tags and ask them for help. Okay? Yeah. For those who are quick on the fingers, you can scan the QR code and you can fill the same EOI form online as well. Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
The QR code, few people are just scanning it.
Okay. Thank you for your attention. Should you have any more questions, feel free to ask at this point while, I hand my mic over to the MC.
Thank you, sir. I'll give 2 minutes for the audience to fill the sheet and go through the scan and the form, and then we can start our next discussion. As you all fill the forms, I'll invite our panel members to the stage. As we pivot to industry insights, our next session features leaders from the food processing who are paving the way for the sustainable manufacturing practices. We have with us Shri Jadhav Garu, CEO at NutriCircle Private Limited. So please join the stage. Shri Vamshidhar Reddy Garu, SVP Operations at Seeds Farm. So please join the stage. Shri Vaishak Bolineni Garu, Head Projects at Continental Coffee Limited. So please join the stage. Shri Peddaswamy Garu, Business Development Manager at Apeda. So please join the stage. And Shri Ravikiran Garu, Director at Food Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, moderates the session. So please join the stage. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I welcome you all to this panel discussion on greening of MSMEs in the food processing sector. Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah, thank you. So we have some eminent personalities from the food processing sector as well as from the Export Development, Agriculture Product Export Development Authority here, and we'll be discussing a few areas of interest in with respect to sustainability and greening measures in food processing industries. Especially, we'll discuss on what are the various challenges and what are the best practices that are there now and what we can look forward to in achieving the goals of the program that we are now part of as part of the initiative of the Department of Industries, the RAM program that we say. So to start with, I'll just speak a few words on what are all the sustainability measures that we are looking at in the food processing industry, and what we have to look at, from a what the food processing industry can do. So we have the ESG initiative. There are compliance requirements for ESG, both in within the country as well as when you're looking outside the country. And from this, the relevant aspect for us would be the environment part, where we are now talking about the greening of the MSMEs. And some of the key things that we can look at from a food processing industry point of view is, farm level initiatives. So how we can support the sustainable measures at the farm level. Thank you. Sure, thank you. Farm level initiatives. Yeah, farm level initiatives. So what we can look at, how we support sustainability at the farm level, and sourcing. So how we can do ethical sourcing when it comes to compliance of your supply chain partners, how you ensure compliance of your supply chain partners, and waste reduction across the supply chain as well as during processing, and post processing also. Packaging material is one of the key things that adds to a lot of pollution from an environmental point of view. So what are the best things that we can do from a better practices in packaging, and carbon management, carbon emission management, the whole manufacturing process itself as well as the supply chain results in a lot of carbon emissions, how we can reduce them. And resource use, again, that's a very important, and we have we'll focus more during the breakout sessions on the resource use efficiency and these aspects, especially when it comes to water, which is becoming a more scarce resource right now. And overall, to make all these measures work, a traceability framework is probably what we require, so that we can monitor all these things. And there are other compliance also that can converge into this, like the FSSA compliance, where they talk about traceability and food recall. Some of the things that we can also look at, we'll ask more from the experts here and come up with more best practices and what are the challenges and how we can address them. So I would like to ask a few questions and a few leading questions, and probably you can answer those. So I'll start with Mr. Jadhav Garu. So yeah, thank you. So can you briefly describe one sustainability or efficiency initiative in your company and in the last 2 years and the impact it has had?
Yeah, thank you. I'm audible? Yeah, thank you, Rich. At the outset, I thank you, Rich, for organizing such important program. Just to sort of introduce myself and my company, to set the context where I come from. So my name is C.S. Jadhav. I am the CEO of a company called Inaugural Circle Limited. we are into plant-based protein food industry, and we isolate protein from millets and pulses. When I say millet, we are the first one to isolate millets from foxtail millet and amaranth, and also we are isolating protein from pulses like chickpea, tur dal, orange lentil. Most of these pulses which are homegrown. I thought let me just set the context for that. And specifically answering your part of the question, uh, being into the protein sector, as a nutrition sector, it becomes very, very important in terms of where the raw material is coming from or where the source is coming from. So, as a company, first thing for us, sustainability is very, very important. In that context, when you look at pulses or millet, they're all grown in the rain-fed condition. So where there's a lot of water saving is there, particularly in pulses and in millet also, for that matter. So as a company, we ensure that we stick to the sustainability part in terms of the water consumption is concerned, because this is at a minimum rainfall they grow. Second, in terms of adopting the technologies also, there are two types of technologies which are available. One is a wet technology and one is a dry technology. So what we are doing is we are adopting to a dry technology, which is a waterless technology. Typically, when you look at a parallel example of isolating protein, from soya and other things, it consumes about 80 kgs to get 1 kg of water, 1 kg of protein isolate. But here it's purely 100%. There is no water use in this particular thing. Second, when you look at from a plant protein side, from a sustainability angle, from a climate change angle, to produce 1 kg of chicken, alternative meat, it requires 8 kgs of plant protein goes to 1 kg. So I think from all the three angles, from a sustainability point of view, in terms of either a low rainfall area, or from a climate change perspective, or from a technology perspective, we as a company are at the core of it, and then we want to sort of execute that, this climate and the sustainability part of it.
Thank you, Jadhav, Mr. Jadhav. Probably, you can also cover a few points on, any kind of renewable energy use, zero liquid discharge, and effluent treatment, or water usage. From that point of view, is there any best measure, sustainability measure that you have seen and what you have been implementing in your company?
So currently we are at a kind of not a commercial scale, currently at a pilot scale, but what I would like to reiterate, the technology what we are using is zero water. So there is no water at all. So, and obviously when there's no water, there is no effluent and things like that is so. So I think from that perspective, we sort of fit into that gambit of sustainability.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jadhav. So I would like to, ask Mr. Vamshi a similar question because Vamshi is, working with Sid Farms, which is into milk production and supply. So there is a lot of scope when it comes to use of energy because they have a lot of chilling infrastructure and all, and involving a lot of farmers, multiple number of farmers, thousands of farmers. So any significant sustainability measures that you have found and implemented, and what is its impact?
First, I would like to thank the Telangana government and specifically the Rich institution kind of arranged this event. I'm a little embarrassed because the only when I received the email from one of your colleagues that I knew that such a institution has actually kind of driven this kind of change management. Second, thanks to Kishore. He couldn't attend, hence I came here. So quickly coming to the point, I'll try to make it as simple and as possible and applicable for the audience here, not just from in terms of the jargon or the applicability of the words, but specific to the context. For instance, right, as rightly mentioned at Sid's Farm, we have a dairy processing unit which has a capacity of 1 lakh liters per day. We do close to 60,000 liters per day. We have our plant based out of Shahabad, near Shahadnagar area. And the best part is we do have this customer visits where we encourage the customers to visit our plant every Saturdays. And our founder, Kishore, he's a scientist at heart. Uh, so the natural curiosity to kind of, when being questioned by a bunch of customers, it's not natural that, hey, suddenly we woke up and started on working on the environmental or sustainability goals. But a bunch of customers actually have questioned us on the same front, right? Hey, this is the kind of capacity that we have. What is it that you're doing? And that's the first thought that provoked him. So we started with a simple audit, energy audit. So that is a good wake-up call for us. Second, in terms of, hey, what is it that we can do now, right? A very simple way of looking at that is, we have 3 shifts running in the plant, probably a year back. Now, if we look at our system, it's only a single shift. So we are reducing the entire operation cycle of close around 80 to 20 hours to less than, say, 8 to 11 hours. That's the current cycle now. Each hour, when we switch on our cold chain, it costs around 6,000 rupees. Right? If you look at the math there, even if I save 6 hours of the cold chain energy consumption, that's your 6 into your 6,000, 36,000 per day, multiplied by your 30 days, that translates to some 10 lakh per month. I think that's the kind of financial impact. But on the energy front, I think that's a very massive one. So, in a simple nutshell summary, one, in terms of how can you minimize your operation cycle, say from a larger time frame to a simple time frame. For that, obviously, a bunch of stakeholders have to come together. Second, how can I align my supply chain, which is my after the finished products are done, how can I align my supply chain and make sure that I can drive efficiencies there as well. Yeah, these are the 2 things.
Yeah, thank you, Vamsi. So now I would like to ask Mr. Vaisak from Continental Coffee on, how do you currently track or measure your environmental footprint, energy, water, and waste? Well, you can look at, probably some IoT devices that you have used to monitor energy consumption, or metering for water consumption, or, sustainable waste management measure. Uh, Probably you can also know how do you monitor. Probably you have a dashboard for monitoring all these activities. Probably you can throw some light on those aspects.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is Vaishak from Continental Coffee. So I would like to thank the Telangana government and Rich for having me here as one of the panelist member. So let me introduce our company first. So uh, we are a listed company, CCL Products. So we manufacture instant coffee. So we have factories in India, Vietnam, and Switzerland. So we are one of the world's largest private label company. So having said that, when the product that we produce is instant coffee. So instant coffee is, of course, it is an energy intrinsic. So we consume lot of water and also energy. So in if that is the way we produce, we have to be very precise how we uh, know how we rate or consume all the utilities. So we have all real-time measuring dashboards. Say for suppose all the BMS systems installed and all energy monitoring devices. So where we generate trends and all the flow meters installed, and we are a 100% export-oriented company. So every year we measure our carbon footprint based on the SBIT calculator. So we have our own targets for 2030, which we have given it as a commitment to customers who buy coffee from us. And of course, we also have, we are committed to our society and environment. So, reducing the overall carbon footprint and closing the loop is a paramount for us.
Thanks, Vaishak. So do you also use any renewable energy source to power up your operations, um, and any kind of a mapping of your energy requirements to the renewable energy production or sourcing that you do, and how do you do that? How do you optimize that?
So I would be very happy to answer this question because we have taken a significant leap in doing this. So I'm sure we have different guests from different MSME industries. So my advice to everyone, you know your process better than anyone else. So the thing is like, what best that I can do to close the loop. Closing the loop in the sense, let me, illustrate this with an example as what we have done in our complicated manufacturing process. So we have different product variants, like, in instant coffee, we produce spray-dried coffee and freeze-dried coffee. So freeze-dried coffee, it is produced at a temperature of minus 54 degrees centigrade. So when I say minus 54, it's no brainer. Anyone here, can imagine that, it is energy intrinsic. So what we use is an ammonia absorption refrigeration plant. So which when installed in 2002, it was a steam driven system. So back in those days, the cost of production of steam through a biomatter or coal is very less. Now we have two kind of ammonia absorption systems, to produce that refrigeration effect. We can use steam as a motive energy, or we can also produce compressors. Now we are in 2024. So what we have done, we have studied all the dynamics. So what is the cost of refrigeration? Producing the 1 ton of refrigeration effect through steam versus energy, let it be EP power supply, or let it be a renewable energy. For now, let us assume we have considered EP power supply. So considering unit cost as 8 rupees, we have calculated the refrigeration cost. So then we were really surprised to realize that, producing the refrigeration effect through a compression system is much more economical than a steam driven system. So what we have done, we have significantly invested in this technology, and now you guys can ask me, why are you telling me an irrelevant story? So now if you can calculate what is my carbon footprint in producing the refrigeration effect using steam, which is produced by burning a coal or husk, versus producing the refrigeration effect using an EP power. And further to this modification, what we have done, the power consumption is very stable. So we have in turn contracted our energy to a third party supplier and made the complete energy into green energy. Now, I'm sure, if people from similar background, could guess what is our net carbon footprint reduction per annum. If I have to say, I would proudly say we have reduced like 30,000 metric tons of CO2 per annum.
Wow. That's great. Actually, it partly answers my next question also. Thank you, Vaisak. So I would proceed to the next question as to, to Mr. Swami from APEDA. Mr. Swami, Mr. Swami with APEDA, so he has been dealing with a lot of export-oriented units in India, especially in the food sector. So, Mr. Swami, have you seen any kind of during your inspection of these export-oriented units and the kind of consultancy and advice you provide to Indian agencies, Indian companies, what kind of process innovation or have you seen which helps in meeting the sustainability goals, especially when it comes to water reuse or solar energy consumption? I mean, considering that there is a lot of emphasis given by the importing countries on this, especially from the West.
Thank you, sir. Myself, D. Peddaswamy, I am working as a business development manager. This is Hyderabad is the regional office. We are looking after the promotion activities from both Telangana and Andhra Majorly, coming to export-oriented units, they are following the SOPs, standard operating procedures, as per the industry's norms and the FSSAI norms. They are following, and also they are also, suppose if we taking the any meat-related industries, meat processing or slaughterhouses, they they have implemented, they have established their own ETP units and rendering units. They in that area only. They have recycled the used water, uh, any material, any wastage come from the this meat units. They will convert their farm into the different value addition. They will used as a different purposes. Like suppose if you are taking the bone meal, that will come that will come from meat that will be used as a feed, any other purposes, feed purpose or any fertilizer purpose they may using. Another one is water recycling. It means if you taking the meat units, their water is coming, and some metals. They can clean the water. They can remove any contaminants. That water will be used as another purpose for cleaning of the cows or cleaning of the pests or watering of the plants. That industrial area only. Yeah, that's why without these installations, we cannot give the permissions to run the units. Okay, any industry like processing industries, how they are using the following the SOPs, how they are using the water, how they are recycling the water, what are the how they can use the wastes of the material like this. Suppose if you are taking the rice industries, rice husk is coming, that will be used for different types of the products, making the different types of the products, and for energy consumption also they are using. This is the different types of each industry. Some pulp, mango pulp processing units are there. They are following the different types of the SOPs. Yes.
Any particular challenge you faced when you're monitoring these export-oriented units, and any advice you have for these export-oriented units on the ESG practices from the point of view of renewable energy use for these exported units?
Majorly, major challenge is facing some related to I think recycling process and value addition or waste management process. Okay, that will any industries where they have their own plan and prepare their own action for preparation and how to manage the waste coming from the industries. That would.
Thank you, Mr. Swami. Now, my next question is, to Mr. Vamshi. So, when you think of your, sustainability targets and decarbonization initiatives for the next 5 years, what are the 5 areas that you would be focusing on? That could be your, biggest areas of carbon emissions, and how are you approaching them? What's the kind of a plan or approach to that?
I think for me personally, continental coffee probably is a good benchmark. I need not look much farther, say probably on the western side of the world, but definitely I have a good inspiration out here. Having said that, I'll give you a very brief as to how a SIDS farm works. So on one side, we have farmers from where we source the milk. That is one chunk of the workflow. The next workflow is at the dairy plant that we have where the processing happens, right? Your products are prepared. The third leg is once your product is ready, how do you ship it to the city or to the customer, right? So each leg has its own your carbon footprint and your ESG goals. So on the farmer side, today we have chilling infrastructure and logistics, which are two large chunks of workflows which contribute to your emissions. So on the farmer side, on the chilling side, probably we're looking at initiatives where we are working with the likes of Rabobank, who invest in such initiatives. We're also working with Omnivore, who is one of our key investors today. We have grants from them to specifically work on such initiatives. So for us, it's important to work with the farmers to build your chilling infrastructure, which is like more driven through your solar energy, right? More driven through your wind energy. So such is the roadmap in terms of the farmer side. Specific to the logistics, right? When I say logistics, from the chilling infrastructure to your plant, there is a fleet of vehicles that brings the milk. So out there, obviously, as you rightly know, right, electric vehicles, that is one large initiative, probably as a roadmap for us. In the plant, right, the step one we discussed, at the plant, sometime back we were talking about your recycling, your water consumption, energy consumption, right? So for us today, if you look at just the waste management part, we have made good progress thanks to a bunch of our customers who keep visiting our plant. They do share that feedback with us, and we are humbled, and we are very, it's a good wake-up call for us, and we start working towards that. And our founder, he being a scientist himself, the natural curiosity to keep solving the problems is something that is part of our culture. That's something that we look up to him for. He's not just a business guy, but more of a scientist at heart. So that really makes our problem statement or problem solving a lot more exciting. So at the plant, we do a bunch of initiatives in terms of waste management. How can we forecast better? How can we kind of make our planning a lot more robust? Today we have a bunch of sales channels through which we sell our products. How can we make our numbers or visibility in terms of this being a perishable product? You know, the shelf life of your milk or your dairy product, anything is like a very, very low shelf life product. It is super critical for us to plan really well and minimize the wastages there. Similarly, the water consumption, we have a very beautiful story. Probably sometime when you come to the plant, you will definitely see that. The plant where the current infrastructure is located, probably when it was set up, we hardly had 4 to 5 trees there. Today we got 600 odd trees there. It's a little slopy area where the water doesn't settle in. We dug micro pits, filling it with organic compost and things like that to make sure that the water seeps in. So today, whatever water is consumed there, I think we have a decent level of water table that we have built there, and it helps us in the long term. And specific to the energy goals, I think not being very generic, but definitely we want to get to that zero emission or zero footprint kind of a long-term roadmap, because we definitely have the sources through which we can kind of create that energy, because our BMCs, these are decent infrastructure where we can definitely have them solar proofed. We can have our entire plant kind of have those solar kind of sheets built on top of them. So we can definitely drive such kind of initiatives, and which is part of our roadmap. And today, while we're talking, our investors from that direction also, we have specific goals saying that, hey, this is what is expected. In terms of ESG goals, we have monthly reviews in terms of plan versus actual numbers, and so on and so forth. Specific to the supply chain, in terms of the finished good from the plant to the city, I think we have come a long way in terms of evolving with the latest trends in the supply chain in terms of cold chain. I think we'll stick to industry standards, and we'll keep driving with the competition or the benchmarks that we have, and we'll drive through either the electric vehicles, greener vehicles. Today we track our penetration of vehicles in terms of the electric vehicles. For instance, today, out of the 30 odd vehicles that we use, the large vehicles that I'm referring to, 13 of them are your electric vehicles. So we keep tracking month on month in terms of our transition towards your greener vehicles. That's at a very high level in terms of what is our roadmap, how do we view, and we do have audits which happen every quarterly, your energy audits, your ESG audits. So that also keeps us on our toe and make sure that we're working towards the plan.
Thank you, Vamsi. I would like to ask the same question to Mr. Jadhav as to what are your sustainability targets, especially from a decarbonization point of view. Also, we would like to keep in mind the carbon credit markets are, probably going to blow up in the next year when the exchange opens. So I would suggest that keep that also in mind when answering this question. And what are your five key areas that would be focusing on for a reduction of emissions from a decarbonization point of view?
Thank you. To be very candid, first of all, we are at a pilot scale now because being a new industry is we're trying to see from an agriculture point of view how much water can be saved. As I told you, in our case, we basically are targeting the rain-fed crops. So a minimum rainfall about 150 rainfall is what we look at it. Second is other example I had given to convert 1 kg of non-meat, that is a chicken or whatever, it takes about 8 kg. So that kind of a carbon reduction is what we are targeting. Third one, in terms of, from a supply chain, from an agriculture side, we are looking to see per hectare, how can we increase the yield of the protein. For example, we are collaborated with ECRISAT, where we are working on a high protein chickpea variety. So this high protein chickpea variety typically is about 18 to 20% of chickpea. We have now worked for a 28% protein variety itself in the grain itself. So that kind of yield parameters, we're looking. So that basically helps, from a agriculture point of view in terms of, reducing water, in terms of reducing the carbon. And way forward, it took us a while in terms of, looking at a technology from a wet to dry fractionate technology, wherein we are, that took us some time, but we are at the, now from a pilot, we reached to a commercial scale in terms of whereas there is zero water in that. So from that point of view, then again, we don't have a matrix as such in terms of measuring it, but from being a new industry, but I think more from the agriculture side of it, and more importantly, how much protein, we can enhance, so that we basically save as much as carbon sequestration reduction and things like that. I think probably next couple of years, we would be there once the commercial plant is set up, and we are currently in that particular process now.
Thank you, Mr. Jadhav. Thank you, Mr. Jadhav. Mr. Vaisak, you have partly answered my question as a response to the previous question, but I would like to you to elaborate a little bit on what are your, what's your approach for the next 5 years on your decarbonization targets, and what is your approach towards that? What are the key areas that you are looking at for that?
So the question is, what are our targets on how to reduce the carbon footprint in next upcoming 5 years? Okay. So very recently, I think, I've already explained an example of converting this absorption system to compression refrigeration. And now we are talking to an energy generator who generates power in a hybrid model. So as on today, we consume like close to 70 million units per annum in all the factories in India. So in India, we have 5 units. So in CPDCL and SPDCL. So we are consuming like 70 million units as I mentioned. So now we are talking to this hybrid generator who has a PLF of 55%. So in next 2 years, the target is to convert probably more than 45% of energy into green. So the generation is from green energy. All right. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we also have factories in Vietnam. So Vietnam, as such in India, the policy and framework that we have in our country is much more ahead when compared to Vietnam. So in Vietnam, the grid compatibility is not there. The government is yet to make the policy framework, and the grid infrastructure is also lacking. And due to these reasons, we are limiting our investment to rooftop. So we have already have got quotations. So what is the energy total rooftop solar that we can install on the rooftop? So it is coming to 5 megawatt. So it is like 20% of our current consumption. So these are the plans that we have as of now, and most of our ETPs are zero liquid discharge. The very first in India, I would say, and also in Vietnam. So we consume like close to 2,400 KL per day. So all of our ETPs are a zero liquid discharge. And the first thing, I would recommend anyone, the approach has to be, to study where my major carbon footprint is. So major carbon footprint is coming from the boilers and also consumption of your HSD, diesel, and then is energy. Because on a global level, national level, each unit that we consume, the national statistics says it would need 700 grams of CO2 to produce 1 kilowatt of energy. So that is a third contributor, I would say. So we have to work on all these pillars. So one, we have worked on steam. The second is the energy itself, and also we are next would be, we are talking to suppliers where we can get natural gas supply through the pipeline. So that would also help you reduce your carbon footprint. Thus, this idea is still in our mind. We still haven't, started working, materializing it. But other stuff, we are already acting on it, and very soon we're gonna declare to SEBI.
That's great to know. Especially the fact that nearly half would be green energy, and also you would be looking at other renewable energy sources to power up your operations. Very heartening to know these initiatives. Uh, Next, I would like to know if there are any promising indigenous technologies or local innovations that MSMEs can adopt for energy and material efficiency. So we have heard and we know that renewable energy, replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy sources is what we have seen, what we have observed. But are there any local innovations and some indigenous technologies that you have seen, observed across the sector, food processing, or whatever sector that can be applicable to food processing? Any such things? I would like to volunteer. I think anybody can answer this question, not in specific. Swami, you want to take it? Any local or indigenous technologies that you find that can help MSMEs improve their energy use efficiency or material use resource use efficiencies?
The scale may not be relevant or appropriate for your specific enterprise, but today we use Systema Biogas. Systema, it's Indian-based biogas enterprise, and we work with our farmers. We use the dairy farms, and obviously the cattle dung is something that goes as an input to this biogas mechanism, and that as an output, right? The fuel generated is used by the farmers in their household. Not at a large scale, but we have tried the pilot. We are going to kind of at least scale it up. I think this is one thing that I can definitely recollect.
Great. Thank you, Vamsi, on that. And one other thing is, how would we ensure, the sustainable practices are, practiced by both sides of our supply chain. Again, what are the measures that we can take as a organization, as a enterprise? In food safety, so we are all from the food sector, so we understand food safety and the compliance requirement. There is one strategy called the one step up and one step down approach for compliance. So you engage with a vendor who is compliant on food safety norms, and also you engage on the on the sell side also, on the upstream also, with somebody who is compliant. So you ensure that there is some basis of checking the compliance and all. That's what is proposed and followed in the food safety compliance system generally. So, do you think that any such mechanism in the energy efficiency, where now you can insist on renewable energy source use, or any other sustainable measures to be taken up by your supply chain partners? And what's your idea on that, and what would you suggest? What could be the measures that can be taken up in this regard? Probably start with Vaisa.
I've seen this question. I heard this question. I'm not so familiar with supply chain. Yeah, so maybe I'll pass on the question to whomsoever can answer. If you can excuse, this is little. Many more investors have to come into this picture, because converting the supply chain into green, it's a vision and it's a dream for everyone. But it's not just if I assume I'm going to do it, because there are certain things, boundaries to which I can extend, or convince the management to invest. But when it comes to supply chain, so there is something that I have to supply, from up north to down south. So what happens, even if I'm convinced, I'm successful in convincing people to invest on trucks, which are running on green energy, for suppose. But we still as a country lack that infrastructure across our state or national highways to power them again. And I'm sure, still a lot of research are being done by companies like Tata, Eicher, and also our Hyderabadi company, Mega Engineering, in launching, green energy powered vehicles. Thank you.
Thanks to my journey at Uber and Udan, at least in those two organizations also, there was always a strong focus on the EV mobility, and because that's a larger kind of a game changer. So today at Sitsfarm, with the kind of vendors that we work specific to, at least on the transportation side, there is a strong push and urge to kind of make sure that the transition happens. As we discussed earlier, so in that entire fleet of say 30 odd vehicles, today we got 13 already onboarded through EVs. I think the push is more towards making sure that we have the right incentives for them. For instance, we also kind of partner with them in the initial capex. So we kind of contribute to them and make sure that probably the debits are done much later in part of their payment mechanism. Second, in terms of your OPEX, right? So that's where the conviction comes from them when we show them one or two successful models. For instance, if you look at Big Basket as such, their entire fleet today is EV based at a city level. That's a beautiful success story. So when we have such probably a moment back we were talking about the net carbon footprint at Continental. I mean, I was surprised to look at that number. That's a massive number. So similarly, there are good, beautiful success stories today. Your electric bike adoption that is happening at fleet level, right? Especially in the quick commerce. I think these are some success stories to convince the vendors or the partners or your suppliers to make sure that we have that transition happening. One step towards that is sufficient to kind of gradually move towards at least month on month or quarter on quarter basis.
Thank you. Before we have a one quick fire round. Before going to that round, probably we have to also discuss on macro trends that are shaping the food processing industry in the next 3 to 5 years, especially around net zero, EPR, or climate change linked regulations. So that's another important policy level thinking that is happening as to how we can link regulations and incorporate climate change aspects into the regulations for compliance, and how can MSMEs be ready to adapt to such changes, especially on net zero EPR and climate change linked regulations. Maybe Mr. Jadhav, you can go first on that.
So I think from a future market perspective, especially from the food side, people are looking for clean and green labels. So I'm sure FSSI also is working very intensively. APEDA, our co-panelist is here. So right from the previous question you asked about the supply chain, in terms of where the raw, your raw material coming from, in terms of if there are any chemical, ingredients are there, there's a local GI tagging. So it's gone to that particular level. So I think from that perspective, the future is going to be green and sustainable, and I think that's very, very important. And it's very, very futuristic, but I think we are all slowly getting towards that particular direction, as I said. And to me, the future definitely will be, now people are looking at the label also, the kind of nutritional label, how much fat, how much unsaturated. So I think there is a shift which is happening, and especially the new millennials, the Gen Zs and things like that are very, very particular of what we're going to buy. And if there are clean and green label, sustainable, the traceability angle is there, I am sure this is going to be the future trend to come. And obviously, when there is a zero carbon emission, in terms of either it could be water, it could be less carbon emission, all these factors would count. And I think rightly said, in the export market, which is one of the speakers was talking, you will definitely have that kind of a added advantage in terms of selling your product not only to India but to the global market also.
In exports market, majorly we export to any major countries, premium countries like EU and USA. We may get the different types of the certifications we have to meet. That is one ISO and HACCP. Like that, these are the one major certifications. And recently also European Union, they are asking the EUDA certifications. But that means the product which is come from the deforested, not come from the deforested. Once we give the confirmation, give the certification regarding other, then only they will accept our product. Likewise, US FDA certifications is required. Based on that, we have to follow the various certifications depending upon the country to export it. Like that, we have to follow. Some countries also, they are also asking some gap certification, where the product come from which farmer's field. That means farmer is adopting some good agriculture practices, means they are following, using the recognized chemicals or fertilizers. They are following some technical technology in the production of the particular product. Like that, these certifications give the strength to our products, and we are exporting. We are also sustaining the international markets.
I think I've already covered this. No, any export-oriented units, I think Europe, Asia is not so specific. I mean, East Asia. But Europe and Europe, I would say some of these countries are very specific and asking what is your commitment towards sustainability. So we have an SBIT calculator. So we have to declare those numbers. What is our target for 2030, 2040 and 2050? So where are we currently standing as on today, and what is the reduction that you are going to do in terms of CO2 emission by 30, 40 and 50? And then as someone was mentioning, they're also keen on the raw material. For suppose we import a lot of coffee from Indonesia, Vietnam and also from Brazil. So there are certain countries where we have to declare that our beans are RA certified. So Rainforest Alliance, we would say. So I think users are getting more knowledgeable. As someone was mentioning, all this new Gen Z, and they are looking for all the labels. Does it have trans fat? What is the nutritional value? back in those days, we did not have the trend. But today we have I would say, a challenging customers to cater to.
Very interesting observation, Vaisak. On the food safety compliance, there has been a raging debate on customer-driven or consumer-driven compliance. That's happening a lot, especially with the social media. I would go back to Vamsi to ask about those macro trends. And, what are all the supports for MSMEs?
I would definitely second the thought shared by Jada Garu. I mean, those are brilliant observations in terms of what's happening out there in the overall environment as such. If you look at our own homes, right? So the other day, my son, he's in 8th grade now, he shared me a link to get printed in the office and bring back home for his homework. So that was about water conservation and the rivers are going dry and what is the impact within the cities. If you look at the trend, right, a bunch of cities, including your Bangalore, Chennai, and all of them are dry already in terms of summer. And by 2030, even in the other seasons also, the impact can be seen. So today, in the schools at least, there is a lot of discussion happening on your environmental sustainability goals. That's the best part. So I don't need to, or we don't need to push them to switch off the lights or switch off the tap. So, which was the case probably in our generation sometime back. But today I think they're like a lot more conscious about the choices that they're taking. And thanks to the current generation moms, I mean, with all due respect, not to denigrate the previous generation, definitely the current generation is like a lot more educated and the choices or the literature that they read to see what is good for the family is obviously like super awesome. And that is driving a bunch of strong questions towards the brands. What is it that you're doing? What is it that where is your ingredients coming from? What is it exactly that you're doing for the environment? So those questions, I think that have become super strong and that voice obviously it is echoing across the community as such that defines the overall industry choices going forward.
Thank you, Vamsi. There was a debate on compulsory declaration of ESG compliances, and a lot of companies follow as of now. But I'm not sure, how easy that would be when it is applied to the MSME, and all the MSME have to declare that. But I think these measures, what we have to keep in mind is, greening is not a choice, but a necessity. And it also makes business sense. So when it makes business sense, and when we identify practices that makes business sense, then the businesses are generally, leaning forward to take those measures and implement those measures. And we have to look at sustainability and ESG measures as not from a compliance point of view. Somebody is asking that we are doing, but more from a competitiveness point of view, as Mr. Swami also has mentioned that you definitely gain a competitive edge with respect to exports. And for food and food processing industry, export is one of the very good option for gaining higher margins as well as a lucrative market. So that's something that all the food processing MSMEs can look forward to. So finally, we go to a quick fire round. So, 3 questions and one line answers from all of you. So I will start with Mr. Vamshi. So one green success you are proud of at your company.
I think the kind of transitioning of a 3-shift initiative to a single shift initiative, which was across the organization, across the stakeholders, mapping both internal and external stakeholders to make it happen. I think that's a big one.
One barrier that needs to be broken for MSMEs to become more red and green.
I would definitely say financial capital.
One idea that MSMEs should explore right now.
One idea.
Yeah, from a sustainability point of view. From a sustainability point of view.
I think a bunch of customers today. I mean, in fact, I mean the live example is in front of you. I mean. People are ready to pay more provided we walk that extra mile. I think when we specifically, transparently talk about what is going into the product, what is the extra over and above work that is being done for the product, I think people are ready to pay that 5% or 10% more. I think for us to get into that mindset, yes, definitely it will take a big leap, but that option is always available to an organization, probably as a smaller initiative or probably as a smaller brand or a smaller vertical, that definitely can be explored.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Jadhav, so one green success that you are proud of?
Well, I think by default, we are in this industry. So for us, that protein coming from the plant is the key to my success as such. So I think that's where, giving nutrition for better health.
Yeah. One barrier that needs to be broken or a challenge that needs to be addressed?
Well, the challenges in terms of, being a new industry, new technologies, innovation is required. I think that is where currently we are facing that challenge as such.
One idea that MSMEs should explore right now?
I think time has come, as I told you, that we need to get into sustainability and green. I think because MSME plays a very important role. I think now time that we should definitely think about it and go for green and sustainable.
Sure. Thanks. Mr. Swami, so one green success that
We are department, sir.
okay, that you have seen that you think that is really good and can be replicated.
One real success means, like what we have seen means they have developed some innovative products. Like means that is once pomegranate is there. Simply they are peeling the product. Simply they can dry the product. They can pack. They can export the product. There is no innovation, but the thought is there. One thought is there. One pomegranate peeling is very laborious and tough to customers. They can simply peel out the skin and pack the grains into the some 100 grams or 150 grams packaging. They can exporting the products. This is some innovative thoughts are all there. Some of them are developing some ready to eat products like that only.
Any ideas for MSMEs in the food sector? Any suggestions?
Sir, food sector, food processing industry is having the very huge opportunities in export sectors. Okay, if you have to develop the innovative product, that is very main idea of that particular industry. First, you have to develop the innovative products. Then you have to focus on marketing and exports. That is main thing. Yes.
Thank you. So, Mr. Vaisa, one green success you are proud of. You have already explained that in detail. Probably, you can just say those words.
The 20,000 ton reduction, that me and my company would be really proud of it.
Yeah.
And then upcoming another 10,000 tons in 12 to 18 months. So that is what we are adding up. Yeah.
One barrier that needs to be broken in achieving the ESG or sustainability goals for the MSMEs.
For the MSMEs, it's the thought process. So today we are enriched with water, fuel, all other natural resources. In next 10 years, we would be having enough money, but we won't be enriched with resources even to buy. So what the barrier is, the thought process.
And one idea that MSMEs should explore right now.
So the environment is set for green energy. So what I would recommend is, identify where there is wastage.
Right.
For example, we were talking about ideas. So we have digesters. So there's India being a tropical country, rich in agriculture and everything. So all our focus is on the end products. But what is really happening with the agri waste? We are burning them. So in fact, Sitfarm, they said, they have come up with the digester. So where they can produce electricity from the gas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I recently have come up with a company from Germany, so where they have an automated digesters. So maybe people can think in those lines. For example, we have a lot of straw, paddy waste, other forms of agri waste. Now, what is the value addition that we can do? So the equation is very simple.
Yeah. So energy from biomass is quite a few innovative startups are working on that right now. So thank you, Vaisak, and I thank you all the panelists for their valuable, contribution to this discussion and suggestions to the MSMEs. Thank you all.
Really an insightful session. I request for one group picture for the panel members. Felicitate the panel members. I request to felicitate Shri Vamshidhar. I request to felicitate Shri Jadhav Garu, CEO at Nutri Circle Limited. I request Ravi sir to felicitate Vaishak Bolineni Garu, Head Projects at Continental Coffee Limited. Yeah, so the planters has the handcrafted iron deer, which is from the local artisans, crafted that has been passed through generations. So this is a small effort to support MSMEs and local artisans for that matter. And I request Ravi sir to felicitate Shri Pedda Swami Garu, Business Development Manager, APEDA. Thank you all. That was audience. If you have any of the questions, maybe you can ask here. Otherwise, we will move to the next session. Okay, we'll move to our next part of the discussion for today. We have breakout sessions post this. We'll be dividing into 3 breakout sessions moderated by 3 of the panelists. Also, meanwhile, if you are done with filling your EOI forms, we have our colleague Nirja and Aboli here. Please hand it over your EOI forms to them. They raise their hands. If anyone is yet to fill it and submit the EOI forms, I request all of you to please submit to 2 of our colleagues. Yes.
Who would be the contact person to approach if you want to install this greenery installation?
Thank you. Have you submitted the UI? That's all we need, right? If you have put in your requirement there, certainly we have to follow the due process and we'll approach you. But in any case, you can always reach out to Rich team. We'll be the nodal agency and we'll be helping anyone. Yeah, we will pass it on to you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
To what Mr. Srinivas has told, this RAM program, it is a Ministry of MSME scheme. It is being implemented all across India through the State Industries Department, here Telangana Industries Department, and RICH, Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, located at T-Hub. They are implementing these 2 components, greening of MSME units and mapping of energy intensive MSME sectors. So the other thing you as an individual MSME can do, there is one scheme, MSME scheme. Many of you would have heard about this. That is called a Z scheme. Yes. My name is Gulshan Bisht. I work as an assistant director at MSME office, the field office of Ministry of MSME, located at Balanagar in Hyderabad. And I am looking after IPR scheme, intellectual property right. A few things. But first, to address to the question, as an individual MSME, there is a Z scheme where you can apply. It is currently only for manufacturing unit, and the certification is given by QCI, and it has got three levels of certification: bronze, silver, and gold. It is an indigenous, sustainable, and quality certification, and it is free of cost application. The bronze level is assessed online. So what you have to do is, first you have to go to the Z website, z.msme.gov.in, or simply Google MSME Z, and you have to register yourself. Obviously, for all the MSME schemes of Ministry of MSME, other central government department, even Telangana Industries Department, you need to have Udyam registration first. So once you go to the Z website, then you register yourself using your Udyam registration number. You get a Z user ID and password. Then you can go to the Play Store and you can download the Z MSME app by QCI. And then on your unit, at your unit, because this app requires geotagging access, so you have to be at your manufacturing unit and you can do the Z assessment. So basically 5 parameters will be there, basic 5 parameters for manufacturing industries, applicable to all the manufacturing industries. So you have to answer the questions and upload photos and certain documents, and then it goes to QCI assessor. So random assessor will assess it, and if he doesn't understand or the photo is not clear, then he will raise an NC. You have to respond to that NC. Once everything is submitted, everything is all right, then within 24 hours you get the Z certification. Benefits of this Z certification. First of all, it is free of cost at the bronze level. Once you get the bronze certificate, immediately through your account you can apply for reimbursement. Reimbursement of up to 50,000 for any quality certification or product certification. It could be ISO or BIS or any other certification which you have. The certification should be enforced. It doesn't matter whether you had taken it before Z certification or after having the Z certification. And the other incentive is, if you want to upgrade from bronze to silver, then you can apply for gap analysis and hand holding. In that, we have empaneled, we means QCI have empaneled on behalf of the Ministry of MSME consultants for specific sectors. These consultants provide consultancy to big companies in the same sector. So at a subsidized cost, they do the gap analysis, they visit your industry, and they provide certain pointers how you can improve. And one of them is, they will, out of the 828 green energies which we have identified, they will recommend some technologies, up to 10 technologies. So once you go for upgrading to those 10 technologies, you get a reimbursement of up to 3 lakh, 100% reimbursement up to 3 lakh. So that is the benefit you can get under Z scheme. And other thing is, since I am looking after IPR, I should also mention that we have empaneled 6 IP, Intellectual Property Facilitation Center in Telangana. In Hyderabad, main Hyderabad city, we have NIMSME, National Institute for MSME at Yusuf Guda. Then we have ICRISAT at Patancheru. So over there you can go and you can get free IP support, IP consultancy, including your branding requirements, registering of trademark, patent filing, industrial design filing. So all these things free of cost. Only thing you have to bear the government fee, which is reimbursable again under the same scheme. So you can, if you want to file trademark, because food processing industry trademark is very important branding point of view, you can get that. And if you already have registered trademark, then you can apply for reimbursement. The IPR scheme is under MSME innovative scheme. So. And other thing is, we also have a cluster development program, MSc CDP. It is not applicable for individual industry, but as a group of industry, as a cluster of industries located nearby, you can apply. And in that, if there are major industries in the cluster, then a financial support of up to 30 crore is provided for setting up a common facility center, which can be used by the members in the cluster. So it could be anything, any expensive testing machinery or equipment which you require, or a common effluent treatment plant. So that is one component, and the other component is infrastructure development. So if you are located in one industrial estate and you need to upgrade that, then in that a funding of up to 10 crore is provided. So there is a corresponding scheme for smaller industries also. that is called as Spurti scheme. In the Spurti scheme, there is a major cluster and minor cluster concept. For the major cluster, the support is up to 5 crore, and for the minor cluster, it is up to 2.5 crore. So this is the financial support. So these are the few things, and we also have a procurement and marketing scheme in which you can participate across India in 2 domestic trade fairs, and we would reimburse you your travel charges, the stall registration charges, stall charges, so all that thing, and plus incidental charges up to 25,000, that is reimbursed. So that is procurement and marketing scheme. Also, other thing which is applicable to food processing sector is barcode. So barcode also we have a scheme in which if you apply for GS1 India up to 100 barcodes, we reimburse the one-time registration plus 3 years the recurring fee for that. So that is also, and everything you can apply through my.msme.gov.in through this portal. Any questions, anything?
Really important for small
Yeah.
industries like us, right? Like the GS1 which you said, it is a good amount we have to pay, like 1 to 3 lakhs which we have to pay to get those barcodes. So yeah, so these, you told it very simply. So are they really that simple? We apply and we get the
Yes.
reimbursement, or
See, MSME innovative scheme. I'll give you an example. The scheme I'm responsible for implementing in Telangana state scheme, and we have reimbursed around 600 applications and up to a tune of 1 crore. So a lot of trademarks we have reimbursed. Happy Key, some well-known brands also we have reimbursed. So, but these schemes are applicable only for MSME. You need to have Udyam registration.
yeah, we have Udyam.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just to understand, so if we have applied for GS1 like a year or 1.5 years back, so will that be?
Yes. We will reimburse maximum up to 60,000.
Okay. So whatever,
Yes.
right? Okay.
So the GS1.
Wow.
So the thing is, what you have to do is, there is a 2-step process. First, you have to apply online. If you go to my.msme.gov.in, all the schemes which are being directly implemented by Ministry of MSME will be over there. You can apply over there. I have told you about PMS. Barcode is under PMS. Then I have told you about trademark and patent reimbursement. That is under IPR. So once you apply online, after that you have to follow up. You have to submit the hard copies, including original expenses, receipts, vouchers. You have to submit to our office.
Right.
We will take those receipts and reimburse you that amount.
Okay, so this that originals and all in use of Guda we have to.
No. At the MSME office at Balanagar.
Balanagar. Oh,
yes.
Okay, right. Thanks.
Yeah, international cooperation scheme also is there, but it is not implemented directly by us. So I can create the awareness, but you have to be like APIDA and FIO, all this organization, they are
FIO.
Implementing it. NSIC, they are implementing. So they take a delegation to a foreign country. So there are some identified trade fairs in which MSME as a delegation can participate, and their expenses will be reimbursed, including economy class airfare. If there is an extra luggage they have to carry, that is reimbursed. Incidental charges are reimbursed. And for the association office bearer also, there is a daily allowance, $150 per day he gets. The office bearer who takes the delegation. This is the scheme. Even RICH is eligible to implement that scheme. And the application opens only for 1 month window. So you need to have a NGO Darpan registration number. So if you have, then you can apply, and or a Section 8 company, you can apply. And then even under PMS scheme, there is also one more component, which different industry association, they can organize trade fairs for MSME. So in that, for 60 stalls, 1.25 lakh per stall, that much amount is supported for organizing the trade fair. So that will be sponsored by Ministry of MSME. So everything is available at my.msme.gov.in. If you also search for MSME scheme ebook, you will get all these schemes. But I only wanted to tell you the schemes relevant to you. So like barcode, trademark reimbursement, and trade fair participation. So Yes.
Get the JET certificate, you can approach us.
Yeah.
Second thing, you're asking the doubts, on behalf of Philip, already we sent thrice delegation to abroad. And maybe every year we are organizing one exhibition, almost every year we are organizing this marketing scheme. So maybe you can avail all the schemes because you are getting doubts regarding particularly barcoding. Even myself, I got the 45,000 reimbursement. So maybe it may take delay of 3 to 6 months, but definitely you'll get them out. That I can assure.
Yeah, it takes time in government when you submit your app through various departments. So it will take time, but you get the reimbursement. If it is eligible, the reimbursement you will get that. So you can also be associated to industry associations like Ali, so that you are aware of this scheme. Because what we do, we do not have the capacity to reach out to individual MSMEs. So we reach to them through associations, industry associations.
I have observed that lot of MSMEs do lot of research during their journey, and they don't even know that this is an innovation.
Yeah.
So, how to evaluate that if they have any new idea or a new product, whether this comes under innovation or not? Do you have any process or any support system at MSME for MSMEs? So, if you tell, then
Yes.
that will be an advantage for them.
Yes. So see, it is very important to identify your IP, intellectual, not only IP, intellectual assets. And for that reason, if you are into research, you are doing research, then the human capital involved in the research, retain them, because that will give you the competitive edge over other country. That can give you a premium on the in the market. So there is a concept called as IP audit. So we proposed from Hyderabad to introduce this in the scheme so that MSME can conduct an IP audit at a subsidized rate and be aware of the IPs they are having, but they are not. They have not taken measures to protect it or capture the value in it, or maybe even for that sake, sometimes accidentally, unknowingly, they are infringing somebody else's IP. So that is also a possibility. For example, few brands I know, they came to me. One was JSXL, one was Aquafine, and a few other brands. And they all came, when they were already sent legal notices, everything. And because even if you are deceptively similar to some other brand, then your company is going to shut down. Your brand is going to shut down. So it is very vital that from the get-go itself, you register your brand. So you have officially obtained it. So you have a prima facie evidence, the trademark certificate, even if there is any dispute. So you are secured. And we have now IPFCs. So you can go to the IPFC at NIMSME, ICRISAT, Vagdevi Engineering College at Warangal, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, OU City in the OU campus. So OU City is also having food processing courses and other things. So we have empaneled them. You can go over there also. So innovation-wise, protecting innovation, innovation can be protected under the Patent Act. Patentability has got 3 criteria main, which is there should be an inventive step. Number 1, that is the base. Second, there should be novelty. That means it should not be, there should not be any prior art, prior work done, which is similar to it. So if it is there, then the novelty is lost. It should be new, and obviously industrial application, because if you want to go for patenting, then there is a lot of cost involved and then maintenance cost involved. So there should be some commercial advantage to it. So those things are required, and plus awareness is required, that innovation, and not only patent, you can also protect as a trade secret, but the most important thing is you should understand the value of it. Even a few things like, the vendors from where you are purchasing your raw materials, the pricing, knowledge of the market, these are important competitive tools. And so protecting them also. Yeah, okay. So I hope it is answered. IP audit will be very expensive. So, but we have IPFCs and empaneled IP attorneys, so you can approach them. If you really, you have a lot of IPs and you think IP audit is required, then you can go for it.
For providing information on the initiatives that are useful for MSMEs. I request Srinivas Garu to felicitate Gulshan Garu, Assistant Director, MSME DFO. Oh, moving to the next session, I request Srinivas Garu to give a brief about the breakout sessions, which are the most important sessions of today's discussion post this.
I think the good thing was we had a pretty engaging session up front. And what the flip side of that is we are running short of time for the next session, right? So I won't take much time in briefing about this. The only thing I wish to kind of say here is we have 3 sessions. One focusing on incoming raw material and aspects of greening on the incoming side. So resource consumption of your MSMEs. The second part would be process efficiency in your facility. What is the process efficiency and how we can possibly look at greening of your processes. And finally, it would be whatever goes out as a product from your facility or whatever raw materials are processed and there's waste left over. How do we promote circularity? So these are the 3 breakout sessions that we have and what we intend to do is try to identify some problem statements from or innovation requirements from the MSMEs gathered over here. So we can take back and further look for innovations through startups or MSME entrepreneurs for your challenges, right? So that's the next step of the program. So what we request is for the MSME participants to maybe choose one of these tracks and then try to maybe follow the group that's going here, staying here for session 1 or sessions 2 and 3, which are on the 3rd floor. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So depending on your interest, please pick this. No, earlier. Yeah. Please pick a session, either session 1, 2, or 3, and session 1 can stay back here. Or whoever wants to attend session 1, sessions 2 and 3. Kindly, you would have to go to the 3rd floor where you'll have the breakout session discussions moderated by one of our team members, either Ravi, myself, Naga, so on. Yeah. Since we are running short of
Session 2, I have my colleague Naga. Naga, please raise your hand. He'll accompany you to the session 2 room. And whoever are interested in session 3, which is circularity and waste management, is moderated by Ravi sir. So whoever are interested in session 3, Ravi sir will be accompanying you to the session 3 room. And the first session, you can sit here.
So one last thing is we do have refreshments after the breakout session. So please come back here for your refreshments once the breakout session is done. And there'll be some networking following that. Yeah.
Also, even before breaking out, we'll have a group picture and then we'll break out for the sessions. Yeah, thank you. A group picture and then we'll break out for the sessions.
To kindly join us here for a group picture, please.